Lovely. Good morning, everybody. Jarrod Michelle.
Lyndon Braffett.
Sales as a profession. We are just two simple sales professionals that just love sales and believe that it's important to share our experiences and knowledge with the audience because we know there's a huge
gap
knowledge base
in
and
the
gap
industry.
in terms of the industry. So we just like to share it. So this topic today for me is extremely interesting because it's all focused on Lyndon as him. As I say, they say first year being as an entrepreneur fully.
Very correct.
And it's in particular, as the topic says, talking about, which I have a typo in, forget that. Talking about when you're going back and forth with your offer with the customer, so the customer is interested, but as I say, it's kind of a bit of negotiation, but understanding where your value lies, where they want in terms of value from what you're offering, and how it is they can reach a middle ground in order to get the project moving forward. So, take it away.
All right. So, for most of you who know, and for those of you all who don't know this, let me update you. So, I've been doing this business. I'm a consultant for the past 8 months, right? And the main areas of services that I offer are along the lines of sales and customer service coaching.
Right.
So, of course, one of my biggest areas is along the lines of prospecting. So, I actually did find a prospect and we did have a fit in relation as to what their needs were and as to what is it I actually offer.
Nice.
Right? So, that was perfect.
Ideal setting.
So, what I did now, let me give you some further context. This was in April.
Oh, okay.
Right?
April, all right.
April.
Yeah.
So this story here would really benefit people who are in the solution services business, or if it is you're doing any kind of services altogether where you have
has a long sales cycle.
Long sales cycle.
Right, lovely.
So what is it that we did is that we identified that listen, there are some gaps. I did the discovery with the customer.
Yep.
Send them back the minutes in relation as to what exactly I felt was they needed. And when I sent them the first proposal was along the lines of a sales training program, which they liked, right? So I'm saying, all right, cool, I'm going forward with this. But the thing is that, go ahead.
So the customer said, yes.
Customer said, yes, I like this, but, yeah?
Okay.
The concern was they didn't have the quote-unquote, let's say, belief that it would have given them the results that they were wanting. Because now we're talking ROI, right?
Right, correct.
The results that they needed after I did the training and I left.
To be honest, because I know we listen to certain people and we understand that ROI factor. Like it kills me with some companies where you see them make purchases and spend money and stuff.
Right.
Yet they don't know how to calculate the ROI.
Correct.
And then they come to us, and I think it's literal because they bought a big high-end product that has a brand name.
Correct.
They don't bother calculating the ROI, but because it's an individual and somebody who do have, as they say, now establishing yourself. No, you need to show us or you need to show
I'm
us this.
glad that you said that because you're correct. What they did is that they invested in an online program, let's say a year before.
Right.
Same sales training, but of course not my model.
Yeah.
But the ROI in relation to what they got from the reps after, right, was low.
Because and let me give you a perfect example. A lot of companies say implement Salesforce and don't use it.
Don't use it.
But they buy it because it's Salesforce. But you don't think about what is the ROI. To me, I always remember our famous guy, as we get back to Keenan, where Keenan said he approached a company and he offered a sales training and he said the CEO came up to him and said, hey Keenan, time thing we could do on the price code is $100,000. And he looked at him and said, are you mad? He's like, you doing how much you got in sales? It's like $70 million. He's like, and this is before I do the training and we have already created the ROI for this. It's like you're arguing over $100,000.
And sometimes when you do the maths, it comes up to sometimes either
Nothing.
Less than 5% in relation to the spend, right?
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
So we went back and forth on this for about 2 months, JB, right? In relation to understanding what the return is. Now, what I've learned because of the customer bringing that up, because I always like to make notes of every single thing, right? So I'm reviewing the emails, and I'm saying, okay, let me see exactly as to what the customer is saying to me that I am not saying. Because sometimes customers say certain things to you, or your client may say certain things to you, and it's not 100% objection, it's just something that they're saying that you haven't picked up as to how you can support them. Right?
Correct.
So I went back into the emails and I said, here's what. Let's have a revisit. Right? Now, what I would always tell anyone, especially when you have quotations out there, one of the first things I do with a proposal is I always try to work the proposal. After I submit the proposal, in about a week, within a week, I want to have a discussion with you to understand your understanding and what I'm offering in relation to the proposal. And then we can try to hash out any particular gray areas.
Okay, right, correct.
Because that is important again to make sure that what you have proposed to the customer has a clear understanding of it. And of course, deal with the objections early. So, price initially was not the problem in this thing. It was really and truly the implementation phase after it's been done.
Right.
What I did realize is this. I realized that what the client was really asking for wasn't just the sales training, but additional support from one of the managers or one of the directors then, right? Meaning that what they didn't have somebody to work in the middle between director and sales rep. So, and there was a big gap in relation to expertise right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that means almost in the lines of a sales manager.
A sales manager.
They didn't really have that in place.
Plus, there were a number of other things. Missing along the lines of PR reviews, right? Structure, sales structure. So somebody really needed to fill that gap.
Right.
Right. Now, because of the fact that I had the expertise with that, now mind you, again, the first proposal is out there for about 2 months.
Right.
We went back and forth on a number of different things. As you would have seen some of the things I would share with you, right? Right. So we would have gone back and forth. When I submitted the second proposal, it actually closed in 4 days. So because what I did is that when I went in and I spoke with her and I said, okay, let me just see exactly as to what is it that you do. How does your month like really run?
Right.
So I looked at it no longer from the standpoint of the entire organization, but the person that I'm trying to close the opportunity with.
Okay.
So what happened there is that I refocused who my value proposition was going to. So not just the organization, but to one of the directors.
So can we say that the proposal remained the same? It's just that you adjusted how it was approached or the language and everything to suit that individual.
That's correct.
So I think that is really, really key.
Really, really key. And I always like to say this, even when it comes to when I was doing work with the guys in copier sales, right? I was telling them, your value, when you submitted anything to a quotation to anybody, how quickly or how effectively you submit that quotation with the solution in it, it's more than likely benefiting an individual. So finding out who the individual, as a matter of fact, you've actually said it in a number of different discussions that we've had and on this live, where you've said, based upon the size of your proposal or what is they implemented, it's wise to talk to everybody.
Every single person. That's correct.
And that's exactly what happened.
Because remember, when you're in a long sales cycle, finance looks at what you do different versus admin versus HR versus the sales team versus the production team versus the COO versus the chairman. Everybody looks at it as a different understanding. You can't just submit one resume. So something which I've always told companies was that, like people who sell to big companies, like take the chance and create an executive summary for every single department you know is responsible.
That's correct.
You don't have to do over the entire proposal, but create a executive summary that literally states, dear head of admin, this is important to you because bam, 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 break it up.
Yep.
Right? Don't just actually force it on them and say you need to understand the CFO's language because I'm only talking to the CFO. So, and by the way, how many persons in the company were you talking to on different levels? So you spoke to the directors, you spoke to
4.
Okay.
I spoke to the 2 owners of the company. I spoke to the director of sales, and I also spoke to the director of marketing.
So it wasn't just one person that you spoke to.
It wasn't just one person.
And I think that's important for any sales cycle.
Correct.
And I think even on smaller cycles, because for example, if somebody's buying something depending on the value, they always discuss with probably their wife, their significant other.
Yes.
So if you decide you're not aware of who the other person is in the audience, I think you need to make sure and be aware because you don't know what influence they have. Because again, those persons again will always say something as simple as, well, I have a friend who's do that, or I know somebody else. Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's one of the main things.
Yeah. And another thing too is that we were talking about a specific prospect that we want to work on, right? And you gave me the strategy earlier this week.
Yep.
Well, actually, when you mentioned that, it dawned on me that it's actually a strategy that I was actually implementing with this particular client, because in between how I made sure. Now, what happens sometimes when you submit something and a customer isn't sure? It just dies.
Yep.
So your quotation dies. They may say, listen, I still don't think that it might be the right thing. Excuse me. So we maybe look at it some other time, right? Because they had other things to deal with. How I made sure that and the proposal stayed top of mind is that I found ways to give them little bits of information. This is what I think you should be looking at. Pay attention to this thing with your organization.
Here's what's happening in the industry right now. You get full insight in terms of what's going on.
So at least once a month or twice a month, I would send them little bits of information as to where I think they should be looking. You understand?
Yes.
And guess what? Every single time they said we value that, to the point where I was actually called in once to take a look at how they were doing some practice sessions. So they were practicing doing phone calls and a product demonstration, which is something I also recommended that they do. You gotta be a role playing, right?
Yep.
So they say, you know what, we're gonna go ahead with the role play, but could you come in and see exactly as to what we're doing and then give us some feedback, which I did as well. It's always important, guys, to keep your customer in. You see that word engagement is a big word for me, right?
Huge.
Engage. You're not trying to oversell, but you're always advising, and I think this is where the trusted advisor part comes in as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Correct.
Because once you are giving the advice, the customer will always accept it, because you guess who's the expert? You are the expert.
Yep.
And not every email or bits of information I sent to the person was buy my stuff from me now. Or let's close this opportunity. There was always a matter of here's where I think you should be going in relation to the direction of your industry. So imagine a proposal that went out in April, right? Took months to close on that one first offer.
Right.
Had a discussion with them in 1 week, reevaluated the proposal, adjusted it to suit, and it closed in 4 days. You understand? Same client, 2 proposals, one closed in 4 days.
How many points of communication would you have done between April and now? Like how many times you touch base? Because I know, but just to share with people who listening,
we would have had, I've definitely crossed over 5. I say we would have had maybe between 5 to 10 different conversations. Yep.
In detail about what you could do, what's the opportunity, how we could approach it.
Even when it came down to the ROI, because remember, in this instance, price wasn't the problem, right? They had a concern with the implementation, like how are we going to make this stick?
So the execution and how we and again that relates to ROI. So you want to make sure.
ROI. I know it's funny because I had to say that, listen, your ROI goes on ROE, which is return on expectation, which means that you have to set the expectations. You have to set the metrics with the team to say, listen, this is what is expected of us now once we're investing in this.
So I think one thing you're speaking about here, which I think is important, is that you have to look at your buy-in.
Correct.
Because, and again, I look at how many people you're talking to in the organization.
In the
Because again, so that's why I keep talking about you have to talk to so many different persons in the company. Because the thing is, if it is that you're trying to pitch something and you have admin talking and several different departments talking about Lyndon is coming with this product, this is good because I understand the value it's going to bring, then it makes it easier when you have to get a decision maker. Because yes, all decision makers now, I don't think any decision maker just goes on what they say. They look at their team and they get their feedback. But if your team is saying the same thing as what you're saying, you have the chance to take things in
exactly.
favor. I think that's super important.
You know what's one interesting thing, and this is again where we would love for sales professionals to be very, how should I say, boy? I don't want to use the word bold from an obnoxious standpoint, but you have to be sure of what it is that you're offering. So I remember the client saying to me one day, he said, no, I'm really not sure if it is that we should look at this next year or if now might be. I said, listen, here's what's going to happen. I said, you could put this off and continue experiencing the same thing. You understand? Or we can work towards implementing it and start making the changes for your new financial year.
And anything I'll tell companies too, that goes in line with something I was talking about, which is your challenger question, which is your customer already has a service, so they don't use the service and they say no, and then you just back down. When you should challenge them and say, listen, this is a reality.
Exactly,
Because what's happening now in a lot of markets, let's pay back 10, 15 years ago. If there was a slowdown in the economy, you could have survived the year, couldn't you?
Correct.
But now, no, not with how things happening now and how fast you could lose business. You could die in a month.
And the interesting thing is too that they have been surviving for a number of years, based upon industry and relationship.
When we talk about legacy, survival legacy.
And there are a number of companies that I'm seeing that has that. They've been surviving strongly on legacy. And the challenger question was a question that the person thought about. So when I say, listen, you can leave it as it is, but you're going to have the same concerns. You're going to have the same challenges, correct?
Same challenges. Yeah.
Or you can try to fix it now, and then see gradually as to how we can make the adjustments moving forward. Even because we knew it's not going to be the term initially offered, which is 3 months. We already understand that it's actually going to be longer than that.
Yep.
Right. But at the end of the day, the goal is, guys, to make sure that you put something forward that best suits the customer and pay attention to what the customer was saying. I always go back through my emails. Anytime I have a proposal outstanding and the customer hasn't said a definite no as yet, I always go back to see, okay, am I missing something that they're saying that
I try to understand their language.
Exactly.
I try and like, and you know me, I'm always big on, I say stalking, which is a research. I constantly start to look through papers, I look through online.
Correct, yeah.
I look at all the social media platforms, I look at people who in the company, who posting stuff on social and what they're saying, because I want to try and see, is there something I'm missing, I'm not seeing, that
That's
can
correct.
say,
That's correct.
that's the spark.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that is because for the same person we are trying to get through to. Remember when I called you excited today and I was like,
Yes.
hey, look what the person doing, like, this how we're going to get onto them, this how we're going to get the
Correct,
business.
correct.
And to be honest, it still hasn't worked as yet. But because I sent all the communication, so now what you do now is re-strategize, and like you have to look at trying another communication, because you have to make sure you can speak their language. But again, at the same time, you have to make sure you continuously send the information that's valuable to them.
That's correct.
So I think it's great that they actually put things together in a mode that allow you to convert to their language. Because again, I think that's what works with a lot of companies. They didn't tell you no, which means that they understood the value. I think they just wanted to make sure and say, you know what, we understand this plasticine, this play, but we just needed to mold it into this.
Exactly.
Like, and I think what kept happening was that you kept getting closer and closer, and then this is the bucket you needed to get to, and it fit in their bucket.
Then you saw it.
Our thing fit in their bucket. The director was comfortable, and that was it.
Even when I did it, I was like, that's it. Here's the other part about that one. This is again where, so if we're talking on the service provider part of it, because now that we are actually, so I started the engagement with the client,
right,
1st of November,
yeah,
right,
last year,
no,
this year, right,
this year,
yeah,
right. And what I am seeing now is that there is a lot more scope for services for me, right? Now, not looking at it from a selfish standpoint, but again, you have the ability to add more value into that customer account. And
because you're in it and you're seeing more things happening.
You're in it and you're seeing more things happening. You understand? Now, that would have been very different if I just stuck, or if I just won the proposal to do the sales training. It would have been a wham bam, thank you ma'am,
right,
feel good about what I did, and then say, but that
was have more value.
But now there's so much more value that can be offered
to help them out,
and still do the training at the same time.
Lovely. And I think is that because you spent more time in the organization?
Correct.
So, and then there's another thing I keep saying. So like I remember when we were talking to some people, I keep saying like, when you go by customers who want the business from, sit down outside the business for an hour, half hour, see what's happening, look at the observations.
That's correct.
Because when you see things that are happening, that allows you to create the insight, the content, the context, all the communication you have with them. And if you don't take those steps, literally what you're just going to be sending is a proposal.
Yeah. And you know, it's interesting because so many things that Jarrod and I talk about, we live, right? So you would have heard us talk about, look, I personally prospect via industry. So I like to have a strategic approach. You would know that,
yep,
right? So what I did is that I paid attention to that industry some months from before. So I didn't just have that conversation with that one client. I had conversation with more than one client in that industry. So I knew what was happening within the,
yep,
you understand? So I wasn't just having a singular conversation about this customer and me. I was having an industry conversation, which broadened the mindset of the customer, that this person has an understanding of
what happened
my
to
industry.
Them. And just to give everybody a little insight, I know you have a couple more persons who just joined. So hi Carrie Ann, Madam Local, Renzen for real, etc. We're actually just talking about a more longer sales cycle and definitely how it is you reevaluate your value, especially if you know the client wants your service but you just haven't hit that right key for them in terms of how they want it to fall in their bucket.
That's correct. Yeah.
We're just talking about the steps and everything that you need to take in order to get it done. And as I say, one of the key things we're talking about, which I wrote down, is that you have to change the language to your audience. Like you can't speak your jargon if they don't speak your jargon. Like if you're on the same language and you're speaking the same jargon, great. But then keep in mind that the person you're speaking to, are they the final decision maker, and does that decision maker speak your language? The persons who have influence in the organization, do they speak your language? And if they're not speaking the language, you may confuse them, or they may not see the value that you're offering because you haven't switched it.
Yeah, because you're just talking, buy my stuff. This is what, you know, and a lot of the times you will find that the customer is saying, yeah, we think we need that, you know, but I'm not seeing where it best benefits me. And any service, like any sales professional who can't have that discussion to break down how it's going to benefit you or them, you're going to find yourself, you may be winning now, but after a while, you're going to find yourself losing, because customers now are being very, very specific on what is it that they want for themselves. Listen, I want to get this out of this list. I can't tell you how many people have said that to me.
You spoke two things, and again, along that same line, return on investment and return on expectations. So go into that a little more, and how is it? Do you think that's super important in the in the
Yes.
in the and do you actually include that in the proposal? Do you
Yes.
include that in the discussion?
I actually have it as a subject line so it's there. ROE is before ROI.
Okay,
Right?
lovely.
Now, I don't always put ROI in terms of numbers, but I write within building the case for that particular section.
Right.
I indicate what I've seen happening within the industry. So a lot of people, they request services, but again, they're not making the relevant adjustments to say, okay, these are the things that we have to set up first to make sure that we get the return on investment, right? So in this case, in relation as to where training is concerned, you now have to sit down and talk with your team and say, listen, these are the expectations coming out of you all. So everything that's going to be discussed in the training, we now have to look to see as to what our current model or performance structure is
In order to get the results.
to get the results that we want.
Lovely.
So in terms of just doing the training and then say, oh, well, yeah, we did the training, and then going back to the same thing that you had from before, then that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and I think this talks about, I think I told you, like, one of the things I've noticed, and I'll tell you this honestly, when it comes to sales training in particular, there'll be a lot of companies that approach Lyndon and I to say, hey, we need a sales training. And our first question is why?
Yeah. Why do you think you need it?
Why? And then when we go in and we talk to companies and they get into the detail, it's never sales training they need. And the reason why we say it is because you could do a sales training. You could jump on the bandwagon and do a sales training. But your return on expectations is going to be almost zero because there's so many other factors that you realize they have an HR issue, or they have a technology issue, or they have a bad apple in terms of a bad manager who's ruining the whole thing. So many different factors that if you don't recognize those things and they aren't addressed, you're not going to get, the companies are going to get that return on expectation. And then they look and say, your program didn't work.
Exactly. And I like the fact that you said that, Jarrod. And again, this if I had to go back to how things were when I was with Massey, when I look at the implementation stages, because their sales process is standard, but of course they have, because of the solutions that they provide, let's say for instance Oracle, there's a particular stage at Oracle, it is an implementation team that goes in, right? But before that implementation team goes in, the customer must have the right infrastructure. You understand?
Full stop.
So this wouldn't work if you don't have that.
And simple, you can't run Cat 6 if the 60% have we just call it the pipes.
I can't
really name, but you know what I mean.
But
like you can't run wiring if you don't have the infrastructure.
And that's a good analogy. That's like you wanna update your PBX, but you wanna maintain the same old framework and infrastructure.
Everything has to upgrade before you put things in place for it to work properly and to give you the result, the expectation that you're looking for. So to me, that is like hands down. So I just want to shake hand and applaud because I know getting and closing business, as they say, being a sole entrepreneur is one of the key things that gets you happy. And it gets you excited because it knows it lets you know that you're on the right path. But at the same time, it, as I say, it kind of educates you in terms of what you could do for the next time, for the next
That's
customer.
correct.
I'm going to show you this quick on point. Helping customer identify the problem is often as important. Often it's a process improvement needed long before. So everything, again, we love to help people, but at the same time, we have been able to identify clearly that it's not.
You know what's interesting with that long before statement? The problems customers experiencing now didn't just show up. It would have been trickle-down effects of things that was happening from before, little things that kept breaking down. And now it's reaching the point where listen,
it's overwhelming.
So we need to.
Because you never ask them, so how long has this been happening? Oh, about a year. What? No. So again, those sort of things let you know what's happening in an organization. And I tell you, I talk to a lot of persons and I'm literally like, no, I don't think you need sales training. I don't think you need to come in and do anything for your team. I really think you should look at X and Y first. And when that is sorted out, feel free to check me.
You know, it could be interesting too sometimes. Like you and I, we had two separate clients, but along the lines of the same topic on mapping out a sales process. You understand?
Correct.
And sometimes by just mapping out the sales, like I have seen with the client that I'm working with right now, they have some good team people in them too, but they don't have a process in place.
There are no bones. There's nothing.
There's no structure in place for them to work with. So when they say, well, I don't know what's supposed to do today, I'm like, what? You understand? But again, that's your role. That's what you're here to do.
Correct.
And that's exactly that's where we come in. And so I'm always excited and happy. It actually gives me a drive to get up in the morning and say, all right, let me go help somebody.
And by the way, guys, don't think it's local with that what he spoke about here.
Oh.
Like I could tell you for a fact, I talk to a lot of top sales trainers in the US through Instagram, through social media. and a lot of them actually publicly stated the companies they visit, 60% of them don't have a sales process in place. 60% of them have so many things missing.
Our buddy Derek from California, Trilink Sales. I was just sharing something with him because I saw some similarities between what he is doing and to what I'm doing. And I just shot something to him and he said, dude, that's the exact same thing I'm experiencing here. Yeah.
So it makes you wonder, it's like walking into a building, a massive building, and you see no structural beams, nothing, and you're like, how is this standing?
Correct.
And that's what it feels sometimes going into companies. So it's super important where, as I say, if you, as we kind of wrap up, identify the...
So you have identified your immediate pain points.
Right.
If the customer is saying something to you along the lines of, but I'm not sure as to exactly how we're going to get the results that we're looking for, then it means that you have to reevaluate exactly as to how you are going to help them get those particular results.
Yeah.
You know?
You have to reevaluate.
Yeah, you have to reevaluate. And you know what's funny? Let's just say I couldn't provide the services for myself. Mm-hmm. You know what I would have done? I would have found somebody to do it.
Thank you.
You understand? I would have found somebody who would have been able to help me execute on that.
Very true.
Understand?
So
that's exactly what you need to help the customer. Do not ever walk away. Help the customer all the way through, because it's not a term I like to use a lot, but you are the quote-unquote subject matter expert in what you are talking about. Your goal is to help them achieve this. Do exactly what you need to do it.
Lovely. So as we wrap up, as I said, the topic has been reevaluating your value, guys. Especially this is catered for if you have a long sales cycle, or if you have a sales cycle where you have to speak to the different audiences in order to get the approval. You need to understand and reevaluate your value, because you want to make sure you speak to them on their level and their understanding.
Correct.
As I say, it goes to it's such a simple thing, but it goes into a really complex level, especially when you're trying to close business and you realize things are being delayed, but the customer wants your product. Yeah. It's literally a case where you haven't changed your value proposition. You haven't changed your value proposition to let the customer understand, oh, okay, this is what you guys do. Yep. Because technically all persons are blind. They literally need to hold, feel, sniff, smell, understand what it is that you're doing before they actually make a decision. It's not just based on sight anymore.
And these days you have to do that through communication. So when you say it, they have to see it. I think I saw something the other day where it says selling the customer the future, and that's exactly what you have to do.
Yeah. Alright.
Show it to them.
So as we wrap up, thank you very much everybody who came out to our mixer last week Thursday. It was the last one for the year. It was, I think we had 30 people maybe?
Maybe, yeah, it could be.
30, yeah, and it was such huge engagement, a fantastic audience. It was amazing to meet so many of you all who we talked to on social media that we actually got to meet in person. Good day, my dear. We met, Tammy and I sat down and had such a great conversation in terms of what she's doing. So it was great to get insight into insurance, because that helps us build a conversation for later on. Yeah. It was just great. The energy in the room was fantastic, and we're definitely going to be coming back very early next year before the carnival season. But we want to see you guys again, and we just want to have some fun. Yeah, Crystal, was excellent. Yeah. And I mean, for the persons who left, we actually 7 of us stayed back till like 9, half 9, just talking. A whole bunch of different stuff. So that made it even better. So definitely, thank you so much, guys. Look out for the next episode, because we have a couple more things we want to really close off the year strong on, because as you look at it, December is finishing. 2 things I'll tell you is that the only activity I think you should be doing now is closing clients and prospecting. Because you need to be building that pipeline to go into December and 2019.
That's correct.
Don't fall for the usual nonsense of January's go over season nonsense. Yeah. That's a stupid thing to say.
Or December is
everybody on vacation and nobody buying. No. That is nonsense.
Let me just leave one quick thing
in
relation to that. Last year, the last working day, not December 31st, the last working day of December last year, 2017, I got a call to collect a purchase order.
You see?
You understand? Do not fall into this false sense of thing that last 2 weeks of December, nobody working. I got a call, Lyndon, your proposal has been accepted, approved, you're getting the purchase order first week in January.
Nice.
I was excited. You understand? Yeah, so do the work. Make sure you're doing the work. And that I started that deal in September. Do the work, guys, because you have to put in the work now to get what you want later on. So do the work now to get your January deals.
Love that. Alright. So guys, that's it for today on Sunday. Sales is a profession. Jarrod Best Michelle.
Lyndon Braffett.
Have a great Sunday.